Right. Good afternoon, Council and Mayor. It's great to be here in Buena Park. I recently moved here. I'm actually the founder of the Facebook group Homeless Advocates for Christ. I'm also a pastor with World Restoration Fire Church in Anaheim. And as part of my ministry, I'm an ex-mathematics instructor, but the Lord actually called me to live with the homeless for over 10 years. And I started up in Spokane, Washington, and traveled on down the West Coast, different cities. But in Vegas, I really experienced a lot of the persecution against the poor there, a lot worse than other cities. And Anaheim, similar. You know, things got pretty heated, and I did a lot of filming of police and all that there. And we made some progress, but more needs to be done. But I just say that to say that sometimes a lot of bigotry and discrimination against the homeless, and I've experienced it firsthand. And you don't have to be on drugs, alcohol, or anything like that to receive the harassment. Because I don't do drugs, I don't drink, and I received a lot of harassment personally, firsthand. And that's what really drove me into activism, going to city council meetings first in Vegas and then Anaheim, and now I'm here. But I'm encouraging, of course, shelter for the homeless, but like a lot of people have said, I think shelter really is the bare minimum, and that housing, permanent housing, is what's needed. And actually, I met with Sharon Quirk Silva's office recently, and just to work on hopefully getting housing as a right for all for the state of California. So if you guys would be interested in working to help with that, that'd be awesome. I have some cards here, but that's an idea that actually Carol Sobel gave me. She's the attorney, of course. A lot of you know that worked on the case against the counties and the cities that were messing with the homeless. So anyways, I asked her, how do you get the right to housing for all people? Because it seems like that would be, for one thing, it would be morally, I think, a lot the higher road to go, but as well, it would be financially, seems like to be a better road to go. Because according to the UCI study, it takes twice as much to keep the homeless on the street than to house them. So why would the taxpayer want to shoot themselves in the foot, basically, and not house these people? It doesn't make any sense morally or economically. So that's what I'm working on, is to get housing as a right for all in California and amending the California State Constitution to make that happen. And this is just a quote from Roosevelt, actually, FDR. And he actually kind of proposed this a long time ago. And this is what he says in one of his State of the Union addresses. The Republic had its beginning and grew to its present strength under the protection of certain inalienable political rights, among them the right of free speech, free press, free worship, trial by jury, freedom from unreasonable searches and seizures. They were our rights to life and liberty. As our nation has grown in size and stature, however, as our industrial economy expanded, these political rights proved inadequate to assure us equality in the pursuit of happiness. We have come to a clear realization of the fact that true individual freedom cannot exist without economic security and independence. Necessitous men are not free men. People who are hungry and out of a job are the stuff of which dictatorships are made. In our day, these economic truths have been accepted as self-evident. We have accepted, so to speak, a second Bill of Rights under which a new basis of security and prosperity can be established for all, regardless of station, race, or creed. And he stated this on January 11th, 1944. But the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was also, in Article 25, states that housing is a right for all. And of course, the U.S. signed that. But unfortunately, it doesn't have any legal teeth. So to give it legal teeth, you have to have an amendment or something like that happen. So that's kind of why I'm pushing for that. So I thank you for your time. Of course, I work to help the homeless in recovery. I have a recovery meeting that I do every Saturday morning at the 202 Club, 202 West Broadway, 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. So, my goal is to help people trapped in addiction to get free as well of that. And one more question I have too is just when you build these shelters, what are you going to do to make sure that the homeless are protected in there? Because from what I understand, there's been some pretty bad things that have happened to some of the homeless, not just from other homeless, but from staff in some of the shelters. So what are we going to do to make sure that the staff, doesn't get out of line, whether it be sexually or with drugs or anything like that? I've heard some pretty awful things already. So that's something I'm kind of concerned about as well. So. And that's why some of the homeless don't want to go into shelters, because they've experienced some pretty horrible things. And I'm sure some of them would tell you if you want to sit down and talk with them. And maybe I can connect you with some of the homeless if you'd like to talk with them. So anyways, I thank you for your time. May God bless you. And here's some cards here if you guys would like. I'll give you some of these. Can you pass this? Do they have anyone to pass this out?
Don Barrett, followed by Brian
Negative?
Forrest.
Under the city clerk.
You the city clerk? Okay. Yeah, let's pass those out.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate Connor Trout on a well-fought battle. He is our youngest city councilman, won by the largest margin of votes. Let's give him a round of applause.
Let me wrap this up 1 second. Let me wrap this up. Friends, please share this video. Please pray for housing for the homeless, and do join homeless advocates on join Homeless Advocates for Christ on Facebook. Appreciate your prayers and support. Pray also for Buena Park and the county and the cities that permanent housing would come soon. We really need it, and that this amendment would happen. Thank you so much. May God bless you. You see first the kingdom always.